Well, I can't hear anything from you guys.
Looks like they are still muted.
Hear us now, Zoom people.
Yes, I can. Can you, Ragna?
Perfect.
Yeah, I can hear them
All right.
now.
Okay,
They
so,
have been muted this entire time. We apologize.
yeah, so for the recording, let's just make sure, and so that everybody attending virtually.
Yeah, so
We've opened the meeting, we've done the flag salute, we've done a roll call.
yes, and we are currently approving past minutes, the two sessions of July 17th and August 21st. We have a motion to accept, approve as printed, as read, currently with no amendments, and a second. Ragna and David looking for a yes approved from you or a no on the motion.
I'm a yes.
David, either by voice or chat.
Did you guys hear me? I'm a yes.
Yes,
We can hear you, Ragna. Yeah. Did David?
Oh,
answer?
okay.
I could not hear David.
if he responded, I didn't hear anything
Okay.
either.
If you can, you're a chat.
I'm a yes. Okay, that's
Okay.
the unanimous
Right.
approval for the minute.
Yeah, and I'm yes as well. Yeah. So we have unanimous approval. Perfect. Okay. Moving on, we have a public hearing tonight. So this will be, this is a request. Let me, first things first, open the public hearing. This is a request to update the City of Boardman's TSP, which was adopted in 2001, which functions as, it is goal 12, transportation element of the comprehensive plan. TSP is applicable within the urban growth boundary. It's going to focus on incorporating the needs and desires of all current and future residents and businesses. It's to develop modern, safe, comfortable, and inclusive multimodal facilities that accommodate users of all ages, incomes, and abilities. Identify projects which will address gaps and improve connections between key destinations such as schools, shopping centers, parks, employment centers, making walking, rolling, biking, and taking the bus safer and easier, and supporting regional transit options. The criteria for approval are found in the BDC Boardman Development Code, Chapter 4.1, Types of Applications and Review Procedures, specifically 4.1.600 Type 4 Procedure. Legislative is being processed as a Type 4 decision. The conduct for this hearing, the public hearing will this evening will be addressed as conducted as follows. We're going to start with the staff report. We'll move on to public testimony in the following order: any testimony in support of the application, any testimony opposing the application, any neutral testimony, and then if there's any testimony opposing the application, we will have the applicant's rebuttal, so ad hoc if necessary. We will then close the public testimony after that. After the record is closed for testimony, no other testimony will be heard from anyone unless the Planning Commission has a specific question. The Planning Commission may ask questions of staff, after which the Planning Commission will discuss the matter and then make a decision. Planning Commission may make a final decision tonight, or the matter may be continued at a time, date certain in the future. If the matter is continued, this will be the only notice of that time and date you will receive. Excuse me. If you do wish to speak, please fill out a testimony form. I have some already. Submit it to the planner. I will recognize those people wishing to speak. Any questions should be addressed through myself. Please state both your name and address for the record when you do come to the podium, since the hearing is being recorded. Please keep testimony concise and to the point. Testimony should be on the action under consideration and address the substantive criteria. The criteria that apply to the decision are listed in the staff report. Failure to raise an issue in sufficient detail to allow the Planning Commission and the parties to address the ability to respond to the issue prohibits an appeal to LUBA Land Use Board of Appeals. based on that issue. Similarly, failure to raise constitutional or other issues regarding any conditions of approval in sufficient detail to allow the planning commission to respond to the issue prohibits a lawsuit in circuit court on that basis. Now I'm going to ask the planning commission to disclose any ex parte contacts, bias, or conflicts of interest. Please indicate the nature and extent of the ex parte contact, bias, or conflict of interest, and indicate whether you would intend to participate in or abstain from the hearing. Okay, hearing none. Does anyone in the audience wish to challenge the planning commissioner's impartiality?
I would like to bring up, and I didn't see this as part of the packet. Can I get a response about getting this whole packet in writing?
Yeah, you can come by tomorrow and pick one up. There may be a cost associated with that.
No, it's an open meeting, so it should be free.
It's available on the website and has been for
But see, that's
a
my,
week.
and that's my point, Carla.
You're talking about the
Yes.
minutes?
No. Hold on one second. So this is exactly the point that I'm talking about. So this right here, I did not see. This is the April 15th meeting, and Carla and Mike McConnell.
All of your emails are
Hold-
posted
hold on.
on the webpage under the view
I'm being
details.
interrupted here, sir.
What is it that you're? I don't know what you're holding up. Can you?
Okay, so this is something that I've sent that I do not see in writing, okay, on the website, and I could be wrong, that's why I'm
Is this
asking.
what you emailed?
Yes, I've emailed several times.
Yeah.
I've asked him for the written packet because I do not see everything that's in there. That's what. I'm gonna get to that. So on this meeting right here on April 15th, I have Carla and Mike talking about Amazon as potentially funding the development of an RV park that is on there. And
Okay.
I didn't see this a part of it. To me, that's impartiality, not talking about something that is not anywhere as far as funding with Amazon that's on the record. That to me
Okay.
is impartial.
Okay, so I think you're looking to discuss the.
But you asked about
and the
impartial,
merits?
you asked about impartiality. I'm showing you with
Yeah.
documentation what I'm talking about. Because if you're talking about this ex parte, it was mentioned, and now it makes me wonder, and I have a public records request, which is part of that written thing that I was asking her for.
Okay.
That shows, I'm asking for everybody's documentation, what they've said.
When we were in the meeting?
Yes, I've asked for the written.
Okay, so I guess what I'm asking is, so what I'm asking the question specifically is if anyone has an issue with any commissioner,
Yes, and that's what I'm trying to get to.
can you state specifically for the record?
I don't know, because I've asked for a public records request of all the people that may have an impartiality on file, and I haven't heard back from the city for a response of those people that have signed an impartiality. And that's why I'm asking for the record and a written record, because do you see how this is a big oversized loop?
I do not. I'm not sure specifically what you're referring to. You're talking about a document of some kind?
So again,
Minutes?
so I have part of the record, non-disclosure agreements to the city that I have not heard back on about anybody at the city that has signed non-disclosure agreements. I would like to see them.
That is outside the purview of this meeting, though?
No, yes, it is. I have it a part of the record.
Okay, but it's not what's presented before the planning
I
commission
can't
tonight.
present something that doesn't exist that I haven't got.
Okay, I can appreciate that, but I
I'm trying to
can't
explain
help
it
you
to
with
you.
that. Right, but what you're asking for is not what we're presenting in front of the commission.
But that shows my point of I can't show impartiality if I don't see any non-disclosure agreements on a public records request, when I can show what I have right here that's part of the record, and I haven't seen any of this on the file, and that's why I'm asking for it to be written.
Okay, what public records do you not have access to?
I'm asking because the
They
city
list all of that on their website.
Yeah, I know, and let me show you a specific example of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That it just shows you night and day. So this is what I sent in.
What?
This
I don't know.
this document right here.
It looks like a picture.
Yes, a picture. This is what I got.
I don't know what you're referring to.
So if it's part of the record.
Okay,
This is what I sent in.
what document is that part of? so I can find
It's
it.
part of the record.
What does that have to do with whether I'm impartial to this?
I'm trying to show it. I'm trying to show it.
In a roundabout sort of way, I guess. No, because you guys have created a loop that doesn't answer the question. Can you defend this in a meeting?
Yes, April 15th, we can bring it up. You want me to bring it up?
Well, yeah, if you, in a reasonable amount of time, if you can,
Well, I'm trying to show you this.
okay,
The meeting he's referencing that took place on April 15th was a Parks Master Plan Public Advisory Committee meeting. It is not relevant to.
it's outside the
meeting.
purview
It is
of
outside of the
dealing with tonight.
purview of your public hearing tonight, which is on the adoption of a transportation.
Which fits into the TSP park, which folds into the TSP.
Okay, those
grant.
are two separate,
They're all part of it. They're all part of the record.
they are two separate documents.
They're all part
We
of
are
the record.
not talking about the PMP tonight.
Please note my objection. I'm trying to
Okay.
explain everything and it's very confusing because it goes in a circle. And when I
I
don't-
very much understand that,
And
yes.
when I don't get answers, I'm answering the question without answering the question because I don't get answers.
We will, I think you'll get some of your answers tonight. So the PMP, the Parks Master Plan that you're referring to, the meaning of that is not, we're not talking about that tonight. This is on the TSP, the Transportation System.
Which folds into the master park plan.
They are
which is-
related, but
Yes,
they
they
are
are.
different and separate.
Oh, okay.
So, and we
but-
are not speaking to the PMP tonight.
But when you show those type of things and you do it in piecemeal form, I'm asking for it all to be done at once. And these are the.
That's-
You can't bring up a whole bunch of things that you want to talk about when you only came up there to say that I'm impartial.
Well, I'm trying to show that, I'm trying to show the impartiality. Please, Mike, please go.
We're talking about
Please.
different things though.
I know because of, I'm not getting.
We're not at that point.
So,
Commi-
okay, let me,
You believe I'm impartial.
let's get this on track here. So it's noted, okay?
Yes.
You have issue with impartiality with this group of commissioners as it relates to the PMP
The TSP draft.
and the TSP
The TSP draft.
by indirect documentation of items from the PMP.
And not being answered on public records request.
Okay, so
Yes, very good.
we cannot speak to
But I just want to note it. I just want
not
to
being
note
answered by
it.
staff. Staff can answer that during business hours. Like that's not part of the purview of this board. of the-
Every
of the
time,
commissioners.
if you look at my file, all those questions are not being answered. That's my main.
Okay. We will try to address the questions that we can on the substantive issues of the public hearing of the TSP tonight.
Okay, well, it's.
We don't know.
It's very confusing. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Noted though. Thank you. Appreciate that.
So Planning Commission, your impartiality has been questioned.
Yes.
I would ask each of you to just make a statement that you can address the issues of the Transportation System Plan proceedings this evening with an open and fair purview to it.
Yeah. Let's go down individually just to make sure we have everyone noted. Ms. Tallman, just to clarify, you're challenging every commissioner's impartiality.
Well, just because I don't have the public records that I've asked for from the city and they're not answering my questions to see who has signed those public records.
Okay, but I just want to be clear.
But see, I
You're
don't know.
challenging every commissioner.
Yeah, I want to see
Or are
those
you
records.
challenging specific
You know,
commissioners?
I also want to see the city councils as well too, and I did a blanket. I
That's
did-
not this is not the group.
I've
This
done-
is not
I'm-
the city
I'm just-
council.
I'm just communicating because they vote on this after you guys vote on this, okay? I'm just asking for all this documentation. Oh, I just want it documented on the whole thing because it's been frustrating and I've tried, I still want to work with people, but if they don't even answer the question and the public records request about non-disclosure agreements, it becomes very frustrating.
Any NDA is not the purview of this commission though.
Well, but you asked if there's any impartiality, and I said, I don't know if there's any impartiality because I don't know who has or has not signed any non-disclosure agreements.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm letting you know that this commission has nothing to do with that. So if you're,
Non-disclosure agreements with the city?
I know, we don't. I
Has
have not
Carlin
signed a non-disclosure
signed
agreement.
a non-disclosure with the city?
I have no idea. She is staff.
You went with Amazon?
You are not part of this commission.
She has no impartiality.
Their staff.
I know, but she has no impartiality.
Okay.
If she wrote up the.
That's not under question.
Yeah, well, but-
I'm asking if you have impartiality issues with the commissioners, not the staff.
Well, I'm saying all total, okay. I don't understand why this is so hard. I don't understand why this is so hard, Zach. But why can't people just say, I will answer these questions and we'll find out the answers?
I'm trying to make sure you understand the delineation here that
Well, that's what.
I'm talking about the commissioners specifically and not the staff, because the staff does not have voting authority on this commission.
I've done this for the last 7 years and I've tried to be as nice and as polite as possible. And everything tilts the way that it shouldn't, especially when it comes to small business and people that have been in the community. And that's why I'm speaking up.
I very much appreciate you speaking up. I very much understand what you're saying.
Well, I can show everything that I'm talking about impartiality being wrong. And that's what I'm bringing up.
All right.
No disrespect at all whatsoever.
None at all. No, like I said, I appreciate it. Noted impartiality with all commissioners due to reasons stated. Mike, let's just start with in person. Your impartiality has been challenged. Would you like to speak to that? What can you say to that?
Well, the only thing I can say to that is, first, I don't remember the conversation.
Yeah, I don't remember the conversation that I had that he's referring to, but if it's part of public record, all I can tell you is that
I truly have no skin in any game that has to do with the trailer park or this place out there or Amazon. Neither one of them are my customers. I don't know anybody out there. I have no ill will toward anybody that's working on it or otherwise, period. I just sit up here and give what's given to me and approve or disapprove or ask to continue what we're specifically talking about. That's all I can say.
Okay. Commissioner Irons.
I have no bias.
Simple enough.
I too have no bias.
I as well have no bias.
Okay. Ragna.
Yeah, let me see if, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yep.
Oh, okay. I have no bias and I've not signed any NDA or been a party or even been asked to sign an NDA or anything related to any of this. So that's where I stand because that's what accurate. I don't know what you're looking for, Jonathan, but I have no
That's what I'm
skin in the
looking for, yeah.
game or anything else.
Commissioner Jones, if you can hear us, do you have a response?
Your comments.
Can someone read those out, please?
David Jones or Fletcher Hobbs?
Let's go top down. just so we have-
Actually,
I think David says you guys going in and out. Do we
I
have
think
audio?
the first comment is public comment. This is Stephanie Case. And it does go in and out unless somebody's speaking directly into a microphone from this end.
so we can scroll back to Fletcher's comments later because that would be public comment to the TSP. David's response is that we're going in and out. And I think that's what Brandon is trying to address by moving the microphones. So no microphone. Try that. Okay, try no microphone. Okay. Sorry, for
That
those
was
of you
better.
online, my apologies. This is a new system and we are working through some troubleshooting. So my apologies.
So where is the microphone for online? Like,
It's right up there.
okay,
The green light.
okay. Can someone online confirm you can actually hear us clearly?
I can hear you really well, Zach. I can hear Carla well. During the testimony from the citizen, it was in and out as he was standing up and sitting down.
Okay.
So David, back to you. Your partiality or impartiality was was called out, do you feel that you can respond to this request in an impartial and unbiased way?
I think it says right there that he has no bias.
Mhm.
Right
Oh,
there.
okay,
Bias.
okay, I missed that part.
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. I think that's everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so for myself, I also don't have bias. The only thing that was called out that is not under question, but it was called out was something with Amazon. If that was under question, I would recuse myself. I work for Amazon, they're my employer. I'm also a citizen of Boardman, but they are my employer. I would recuse myself if that was an issue that is not on the table at all, that we have nothing to discuss with Amazon whatsoever. So that would be the only thing that I would call out for myself for the substantial issues that we have to talk about tonight for the TSP. I have no bias for anything.
But I want to make sure. Okay, so you've signed a non-disclosure with Amazon, correct?
As part of my employment, yes, I
Okay,
have.
so that means anything that's privy of information, like specific
If I can
documents.
interrupt, Jonathan,
No,
my
no,
name is
hold
Jody
on.
Gallahan. I am attorney for the city. You are outside the
She's
scope
the
of this
attorney of
hearing.
It doesn't matter, so I can
You are
interrupt anybody that I
outside the
want to
scope of
interrupt.
this hearing.
Can I interrupt
Jonathan.
anybody that I want to interrupt?
Okay, hold on.
Please let me finish what I'm trying to say.
Let's just go on a
You
second.
do not get
What-
to ask personal questions of this
This is our
commission.
attorney of
Jonathan.
record.
It doesn't matter. I
Okay,
want it on the
so-
record what I'm talking
What-
about.
What's her name?
Time for you to stand up, Jonathan.
Jody. My name is
Yes, but
Jody.
we're engaged in a
Our attorney-
conversation. This is
Jody-
not impartiality, Mike.
Okay.
Go ahead now.
Apologies, commission. My name
Jody
is
noted.
Jody
I would
Gallahan.
like to give Jody her chance to speak. We've noted what you have said.
So you just directly talked to me. I just got interrupted and wasn't able to finish.
Okay,
my
just a
thought.
moment, Jody. What
Do
would you like to say?
understand how important that is to finish a thought when you're in it, not to be
Yes,
interrupted?
what would you
So
like to say?
when you signed a non-disclosure, you cannot say privy information about, take the OWRD, the Oregon Water Report. That is, makes a huge difference as far as impartiality when it comes to the amount of water that Amazon uses. This whole report, okay, I've asked about the OWRD, that affects your business. Okay, that you work for. That is not impartiality.
I have.
But you see what I'm saying? You've asked and I've explained back, ping pong, and I know it can very frustrating. But this is common sense as far as impartiality and conflicts of interest that needs to be shown. Zach, I had no idea you worked for Amazon. I had no clue. I just wanted to
I
make
work in
sure.
tech. I work with networks, man. I don't work with water.
Yes,
If-
but we've
If
seen.
I can please
We
try
just
to bring
signed.
this conversation back to the topic. This is a hearing on the transportation. You do not get to ask personal questions of a commissioner.
Will you turn the volume?
Yeah, do we have a volume up on that? Is
so-
it, and is that being
Here,
recorded?
then.
From Zoom, it's all the way up.
It is all the way.
Yeah,
up.
unless-
Just say, Jody, we're having a hard time. I'm sorry, our technical difficulties.
You're okay. You're okay.
Okay,
Can you please repeat what you were saying, Jody?
Yeah, you do. Mr. Tallman, this is a hearing about the transportation system. This is not a hearing about water. This is not a hearing about Amazon. Keep your comments to the topic. And you do not get to attack personal members of the Planning Commission, to be clear. I'm done.
Thank you, Jody.
Can I respond back to that?
No,
no.
moving on. Can we move on to staff report?
We can. Let's see. And no, if you can't hear me online, please let us know somehow. I will try to speak up. I'm not supposed to use the microphone, so maybe I'll just move it a little bit. I'll walk my way through this. So thank you, Chair Barisi. I'm going to start by drawing from the staff report that you all have there. And I want to share some general information about why the city initiated the development of a new transportation system plan, or TSP. So for the benefit of those who are attending online or in the room, TSP is the common acronym for this item, and I'm going to use the acronym just to keep it simple. Once that is concluded, I will ask the consultant team, particularly Matt Hugard of Kittleson and Associates, to address the particulars of the draft TSP. From the written staff report, I want to share that the current Boardman Transportation System Plan, or again, TSP, was adopted in 1998 and updated in 2001. That it lacks consistency with the transportation planning rule and other guidance and regulatory requirements. The City of Boardman applied for and received a Transportation Growth Management Grant, which is a joint program of the Department of Land Conservation and Development and the Oregon Department of Transportation, which is funding this project, with the city providing match in both cash and in-kind participation. To kick this project off, the City Council appointed a Public Advisory Committee, or PAC, in September of 2024 that consisted of transportation experts and local citizens to provide input and guidance to the development of the draft TSP. Over the course of the past year, 3 PAC meetings have been held. An open house was held in January of 2025, and 2 joint workshops were held with the City Council and Planning Commission. Formal outreach concluded in August with a joint City of Boardman and Morrow County workshop that included both jurisdictions' elected officials and planning commissions. Formal notice of this proceeding was submitted to the Department of Land Conservation and Development on September 10th. The City of Boardman is working on a larger strategic planning project that started with the development and adoption of 5 strategic goals as part of the strategic plan. That planning process acknowledged that several planning documents were identified for update or development, including this TSP, a Parks Master Plan, or PMP, an Economic Opportunities Analysis, or EOA, a Housing Capacity Analysis, or HCA, and an update to the Comprehensive Plan and Development Code. We've also identified through this process that we're going to complete a refinement to the Main Street Interchange Area Management Plan, and we've added that to the list of planning projects, and we expect to initiate that shortly after adoption of the TSP. Staff are aware that some residents may not fully understand the variety of projects that are underway and how they may, and more importantly, may not interact with each other. Both the TSP and PMP discuss pedestrian and bicyclist needs, suggesting projects over their respective planning horizons. While coordination was accomplished, the intent of the planning projects are different, and not all projects are identified in both plans. To further explain, a TSP does not have a role in a potential urban growth boundary expansion. However, a UGB expansion would likely require a traffic impact analysis, but that is a different document. It is traffic impact analysis. It is not a transportation system plan. Likewise, the adoption of a Parks Master Plan, except for the intersection of pedestrian and bicyclist projects, has little to do with the adoption of the TSP. It should also be noted that there is no prescribed sequence of adoption for projects like this. Most communities do not take on all of this work at once, but adopt various plans in some order, limiting the overlap of work and the cost of this type of plan, and also limit the cost that this type of planning can have. The adoption process for the TSP is legislative in nature, with the public hearing this evening being the first of at least 2 for the City of Boardman, with the final public hearing before the City Council. Because the TSP is applicable within the urban growth boundary, it will be co-adopted by Morrow County, with their public hearing scheduled to follow our last public hearing. They will also have 2 public hearings, one before their Planning Commission and the second before their Board of Commissioners. The approval criteria in the Boardman Development Code applicable to this adoption is found in Chapter 4.1, Types of Applications and Review Procedures, and more specifically at Section 4.1.600, which regulates Type 4 procedures. Both Planning Commission and City Council need to determine if the TSP is consistent with the statewide planning goals, and those that are applicable are 1 and 12. The City of Boardman Comprehensive Plan, and whether adequate public facilities, services, and transportation networks can support proposed uses. And that final criterion is more applicable to a development action, but staff did do an analysis with the findings focused on the transportation facility component as it would relate to the draft TSP. At this point, that's going to conclude my initial portion of the TSP, and I'm going to turn the presentation over to Matt Hughart. And can you share screen?
Yep.
And Matt will present the staff component on this TSP specifics.
Yeah, thank you, Carla. First of all, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you can see my screen now? Okay, thank you. Yeah, hi, everybody. Matt Hugart with Kittleson and Associates. With me here this evening is Isa Gagos. She's one of my colleagues. Not represented here, but on the project team are folks from Zan and Associates who led and helped us with public engagement, and MIG, who led and helped us with code and implementing ordinances. I'm here this evening to represent the project team and provide a brief high-level overview of the TSP itself and kind of the steps and the process that went into it and the product itself. So I think the first slide I want to talk about is just what is the TSP. So I think a lot of people on the commission have already seen this presentation, so I apologize if it's a little repetitious, but I do want to kind of start from the top for those in the audience who have not seen it before. But a transportation system plan is essentially just a long-range planning document that identifies the multimodal transportation network improvements for the city over the next 20 years. It is a planning document. It's prescriptive to a certain extent, but it's also flexible. Boardman's last TSP was formally adopted in 2001, so it's quite old. There's been a handful of updates to that 2001 TSP since that time, but this is a full-scale overhaul of the TSP with a lot of new information and consistency with statewide planning goals. We are updating it now because the city applied for and was awarded a grant from the Oregon Department of Transportation and the Department of Land Conservation and Development to fund the update of the TSP. And that our team was one of the teams that was selected to help the city perform the update. As you probably have seen and experienced, having lived in Boardman, there's been a significant amount of population growth over the last 10 to 15 years. A lot of new residential and some commercial development. And as you know, quite a bit of expansion in the Port of Morrow. So traffic growth has continued to affect circulation patterns in the city. So this TSP is designed to take that into account and come up with some projects that will help address that over the next 20 years. And then lastly, the TSP kind of aligns with evolving city and city planning and funding goals and initiatives. The TSP was rooted in was rooted in 6 specific goals that were developed to guide the TSP itself. I'm not going to go into the extreme detail on each of those goals, but they're essentially focused on the topic of safety. So we want to make sure that the city's transportation system is planned and designed to accommodate in the safest manner all modes of transportation. The topic of mobility is important for communities of Boardman size, growing communities of Boardman size, because we want to make sure that there are multiple ways for people to get to and from their destinations via multiple travel modes. The topic of accessibility and connectivity. We want to make sure that we've got a roadway network and a sidewalk network and a bicycling network that provides options for people to get from one area of the city to the other. So enhancing that connectivity and the connections between key destinations is important. Wanted to make sure that this TSP was rooted in the needs of the community. So we had a pretty robust public engagement effort that took into account the topics and the modes and the traveling needs of the people who we talk to. So it's a very community-focused plan. It's also on the topic of sustainability, just trying to make sure that we don't put all of our transportation eggs in one particular mode. It's not just people don't get around Boardman solely by vehicles. So we wanted to make sure that there's plenty of modal choice for people, and they can walk and bike and take transit if that's their primary source of transportation. And we want to make sure that the system is accommodating for that. And then lastly, and kind of the most important one, is strategic investment. There's only so much money that the city has for making capital improvements. So we have to identify projects that and prioritize those projects accordingly to those limited funding sources. And as you'll see in this TSP, if you've looked into it in greater detail, there's a lot more projects on the TSP than the city likely has funding for. So there's an expectation that a lot of projects will have to be funded through outside sources. And feel free to stop me as I go here. I'm just going to keep going until I hear differently. Talked a little bit about the future growth. So one of the things we did in this TSP, and I'm sorry for the sort of the blurry, fuzzy image here, but the main thing to focus on are those red dots. We tried to look forward, make this a forward-looking TSP, and plan for growth, additional growth above and beyond what you're experiencing today. So each of these red boxes with some rope, if you will, represents the likely or most logical places for infill development to take place within a 20-year time period. It doesn't mean that growth is limited specifically to these areas, but when we worked with city staff, we kind of found that these were the areas that had the most potential to experience near-term or near midterm infill growth in the form of new subdivisions, new housing, new retail, new highway-oriented retail. So we projected that growth onto the transportation system and measured the outcome of what it would mean if we had all of these red boxes with additional housing units and additional retail. And we found that in most cases, the system is going to be capable of accommodating that growth, but there's going to need to be some improvements, some additional connectivity improvements, additional intersections, traffic control, and any number of other modally based projects that will help fill in gaps in the system. So what was the outcome of all that effort? Well, these next several slides just kind of hit the high points of some of the key mapping. So one of the things we did to kind of clean up some inconsistencies is identify and solidify some of the jurisdictional responsibility of the roads and the travelways in Boardman. So there's not a lot of detail here on this map other than just to say we now have formally sort of mapped out and will be codifying the ownership and responsibility for all of the key existing transportation infrastructure in the city as well as the future infrastructure. So right now this map identifies what is the responsibility of the city of Boardman, what is the responsibility of Morrow County, what is the responsibility of Oregon Department of Transportation, and lastly, the responsibility of the Port of Morrow. So it's just kind of a key kind of foundational map that a lot of TSPs start off with. This next map is what we call the roadway functional classification map. So it's a classification map that defines which roads are arterials, which roads are collectors, which roads are neighborhood collectors. But it also defines the future roads on the system. So anything that you see in a solid line is an existing road and the color corresponds to the functional classification. Any line on there that's dashed implies or shows a future road that's been identified over the course of this planning effort and identifies what that functional classification will be. We define the functional classification because it helps define how the city will build each of those roads or how private development will fund those their frontage improvements and what kind of infrastructure will be associated with it. Will there be a sidewalk? Will there be a bicycle lane? How wide will the roadway be? Those are important elements for ensuring consistency and uniformity in the travelways. This next image just is more of a visual image that kind of defines what we call the roadway design framework. So for each of those arterials and collectors and neighborhood collectors and local streets, these are the expectations in terms of what those roadways will look like when it comes to accommodating vehicles, freight, bicyclists, and pedestrians. As you can see, there's different striations of design treatments, and this image is included in the TSP as, again, a policy design framework, but the specifics of the design treatments in terms of how wide the travel lanes will be, how wide the sidewalks will be, how wide the landscaping strips or buffer zones will be, those are identified in the city's public works standards, and that's where they will remain for the foreseeable future. The TSP just identifies it at a policy level. This map here identifies the truck freight network classification. So one of the things we recognized early on in this process is there's a lot of freight that's generated in and around Boardman. A lot of it comes from the Port of Morrow. But a lot of it is freight generated by local businesses and, you know, your local mail and Amazon delivery trucks. Those all take some priority on the system. So we tried to identify through this map where we want regional freight routes to occur, where we want the local freight routes to occur, but also recognizing that there's a lot of freight that comes out of the Port of Morrow, and particularly some, you know, oversized freight that at the moment they have to rely upon some of the roadway networks within Boardman proper to get that freight to and from the I-84 corridor. So we also recognize that there's some special oversized high and wide and heavy loading that needs to happen, so that this network plan identifies where those routes would be most accommodating. Okay, so now these next several projects, I won't go into extreme detail on each one of these other than to note that this is the map that identifies all of the planned intersection and roadway projects. I'll call out a few on this map, but again, anything that you see in a dashed line is a future roadway. And a lot of these roadways, in some cases, are just extensions and logical extensions of roads that are at the moment dead ends. So, for example, Oregon Trail Boulevard to the west, to the east of Main Street. If you follow that easterly, eventually you'll just come to a dead end. But there's a project on this map, it's Project R4, that would identify the logical future extension of Oregon Trail Boulevard over to Olson Road. And that's an example of a future project, a future roadway extension project. Other symbols on this map, the circle dots represent planned intersection improvements, whether it's a traffic expectation that that intersection is going to need traffic control, or an expectation that that intersection might need some other treatments, access management, or other treatments. I do want to call out one particular notation on this map, and there's a large green box that's kind of hovering over the I-84 Main Street interchange. That was kind of a late addition to this TSP. It's project R25 if you're looking at the project tables. And one of the things that we realized, and I'm going to go to my next slide here because it's a little easier to talk to this one, is, you know, a TSP is a very high level planning document. We've tried to get to a level that we can forecast traffic growth and try and identify where that traffic growth is going to cause limitations on the roadway network. And one of the key areas that we identified in this planning effort is the I-84 Main Street interchange. For those of you familiar with it, at certain times of the day, it can get bogged down with school traffic and local traffic and commuting traffic, as well as the freeway-oriented retail traffic. And if you kind of look at that overpass, it's a 2-lane overpass over I-84. It's has height limitations on it. So certain freight loads coming east-west on the freeway cannot travel underneath it because it doesn't meet ODOT's minimum height requirements for the higher loads that they accommodate in the system today. So there's a lot of limitations associated with this interchange in addition to the forecast capacity constraints. So, but the fix or the identified improvement for that interchange is a much more complex topic than this TSP had the time or the budget to try and tackle. So, but we know enough to know that there are limitations. So one of the things that we did in this TSP is identify Project R25, which is a project that would obligate the city to fund a revised study of this interchange and revisit the 2009 interchange area management plan that currently governs the infrastructure in and around this interchange. Rather than just fold in and roll in that 2009 IAMP, the R25 project will essentially be a future near-term project. It's included on the financially constrained project list, which means the city has money to fund that project in the near-term future, and it will obligate the city to to revisit that IAMP and the infrastructure needs associated with the interchange. And not only will it look at the interchange itself, including the ramps and the overpass, but it will also revisit and look at the access management needs at North and South Front Streets. I believe there'll be some testimony you'll hear later this evening from some local property owners who are concerned about the inclusion of any projects that preemptively prescribe certain access management treatments at the Front Street intersections, and would like to see those details pulled out of the IAMP. So I'll let the testimony speak to that, and then I'll follow up if necessary. But the basic summary is we've got a more of a defined project that will revisit this interchange and come up with a much more specific improvement plan that will tackle all of these issues in one planning setting. And whatever the outcome of that revised IAMP, that will then inform future projects at the interchange and at Front Street intersections. So that's all I'll say about that, unless there's any questions. Okay, feel like I'm taking a little more time than I need to, but I'll just kind of rifle through the rest of these slides, and then I'll open up for questions. The last couple of slides here, this is a local street connectivity plan. This is more of a fluffier planning document, but basically what it's trying to show is there's a lot of development, residential development that has occurred in Boardman that needs some guidance. There's a lot of dead-end streets and stub streets, implying that extensions could occur at some point in the future when properties develop. And this is one of those documents that will help city staff work with property owners and developers to help them understand where the city's expectations lie when it comes to the extension of local streets to serve those developments. So all these little orange and yellowish colored arrows in there are really just guidance for where the city would expect local streets to extend if and when vacant parcels develop, according to connectivity and other circulation needs. As I mentioned, this is not just a vehicular oriented plan. We've got projects in here that speak to the need for pedestrian accommodations. I will point out a couple of additions to this map. If you were part of the joint city and county work session that we had a month and a half ago, one of the comments that we got was a need for enhanced pedestrian connections across the I-84 corridor that don't specifically rely upon the Main Street overpass. And so we did include some new projects that would show some multi-use pathway connections going over the freeway via some new grade separated pedestrian and bicycle only bridge connections. And that's identified in the MUP 10 code if you're looking at the project table. Everything else is more or less just refinements to most of the previous projects, but the blue lines represent planned sidewalks and the purplish lines represent planned multi-use pathways or on-street pathways. Bicycle project map, again, is kind of mirrors the pedestrian project map, but on the bicycle project map, a lot of the lines that you see on here are just kind of limited to really kind of two key infrastructure needs. One, widening or revising and restriping roads to provide bicycle lanes where it's appropriate. And then those are the green lines, and then the orangish colored lines recognize that in most cases, a lot of streets in Boardman don't require separated bicycle facilities. Traffic volumes and speeds are low enough where you could share those roads between motorists and cyclists, but would need some enhanced signing and striping to help accommodate that. So a lot of these projects in orange represent just signing and striping enhancements that would help motorists understand that their roadways are being shared with cyclists. Okay, so I think that kind of wraps up the portion of the meatier portion of the TSP in terms of the projects and the types of guiding documents that go into it. We also, as part of our project, we worked with city staff to develop some code and implementing ordinances that would help implement the specifics of the new TSP. So MIG, again, who's not here tonight, worked closely with city staff to develop those ordinances and come up with the language that's necessary to be codified to help make the TSP start functioning as an adopted planning document in the city. Not a lot of detail, I think, to go in here, other than just making sure that you know the code and the ordinances are consistent. We have the proper pedestrian transit supported development language, and then the language for permitting the different transportation facilities as they come online, either through development or through capital expenditures. That code language was also updated to be consistent with a lot of the requirements that the state Oregon imposes on different cities to meet the transportation planning goals. So making sure that the TSP and the ordinances are consistent and talking to each other, make sure we have the right pedestrian and transit supported development language and other language for consolidating and permitting when it's required. And then I think just, you know, in terms of just recognizing that this was not a planning effort that was done in a vacuum. There was a lot of work sessions that involved committees. We had a public advisory committee, a technical advisory committee. We had multiple outreach and engagement efforts with the public, and we had work sessions. So I think right now we're here this evening to kind of start the official adoption of this plan. And with that, I will stop talking and make myself available for questions.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Information on slideshow.
I have some questions, because when it came to me asking questions about, you know, the pictures.
We're going to get to you.
I want to make sure I have reference to talk to him.
I have your public comment. We will absolutely get to you.
No, in the hearing, not in public comment.
So we will, if you wish to speak against the application, we will have a time for that.
To be able to talk to him.
When we get there, I will let you know.
Awesome, thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for, I'm sorry, I don't.
Matt.
Max?
Matt.
I'm sorry, Matt. Apologies. I'm horrible with names. Does anyone have any questions for Matt? I really thorough explanation. I don't have any questions specifically, but does anyone have any questions? Or David?
David signed off.
Oh, okay.
There was a chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, David
Okay.
signed off just probably what, 2 minutes ago? 6:55.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very thorough. I don't have any questions. It doesn't sound like there's any other questions. Matt, thank you very much for the thorough information. Really appreciate the time.
Sure. Yep. No problem.
Is
I'll
there?
stop sharing now so that I'll let you guys take the screen over.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor
Wait a minute.
of, yes?
Respondents component first, please.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Totally missed that. There is. And there is in additional correspondence. So can we identify what additional correspondence we have included in the staff report?
Right, so I believe it was yesterday, we received a letter from Jennifer Bregar, who is an attorney with TBD. She is representing Alex Hattenhauer, who is a business owner on the north side of the freeway. That letter is on the dais. It also includes 2 attachments, an email thread, as well as a letter from their traffic consultants with Greenlight Engineering. I asked Matt to review this package that was submitted as our consultant on this project. He did that. I also shared the letter with you all yesterday afternoon by email, sharing with you as well. No, I don't think I did. What I'm sharing with you this evening is the letter, and then you also have on the dais specifically tables 5-1 and 5-2, as well as an email where I forwarded this to Matt and he provided his comments back to the city staff relative to the letter. And then I also have on the dais Matt's response to Heather's email that is included as an attachment to the Jennifer Bregar letter. I know it's confusing. End of the day, we don't have any concerns with what Mr. Hattenhauer is requesting, with the package that was put together by his attorney, and includes the letter from Greenlight, whatever Greenlight is, yes. Greenlight Engineering, excuse me. So we're not opposed to that. As we get to some conclusions this evening, we can certainly talk about how that affects any kind of motion or deliberation that you guys may make. We recognize and respect the concerns that both Ms. Baumgartner and Mr. Hattenhauer raise around concerns along Main Street. We do have an in-place Main Street Interchange Area Management Plan. As you are well aware, a little over a year ago, we attempted to have a proceeding where we talked about a light. It was appealed. We eventually withdrew that application because we knew by then that the TSP had been funded and that we were moving forward with this. As part of the TSP process, we've determined that we need to move forward sooner rather than later with a refinement to the IAMP. And so what they're really asking for is that they be held harmless, and that just the IMP be applicable until such time that we adopt a refinement. And I think that's our intent of the project that Matt identified as R-25. We've also received, I think we're at 12 emails from Mr. Tallman. I think what I will say about them is that they are not addressed to the substantive criteria that is in front of you to review. He's requesting for a continuance. This is a legislative proceeding. We ask that you not continue this hearing, that you forward to the City Council your recommendation at the conclusion of this evening. And we'll also be providing to the City Council supplemental findings in response to public comment addressing Mr. Tallman's concerns. I will briefly tonight just share a couple of items relative to this. Most of his emails are confusing because he's requesting both to have information included in a public record in this public proceeding, and he's also asking for a public record. When you request a public record, that's a very specific process. We have a form on our city's website. And when you're requesting a record, you're requesting something that the city can provide. In many of his requests, he's wanting the city to create a document, not supply a document. We have also provided him the links to all of the project pages for the TFP, the Parks Master Plan, the EOA, the Housing Advisory Committee, and the whole strategic planning page. He appears to not understand that each of these processes are standalone and that each will go through their own adoption process. And so to confuse a Parks Master Plan map with the adoption of the TSP is confusing because they are not related. You are not tonight reviewing or adopting anything related to the Parks Master Plan. That will come soon enough. That will be in front of you either next month or the following month for consideration for adoption. He actually references statute that aren't actually statute anymore. They've either been removed or renumbered. He's referencing TOLUBA decisions that are not applicable to the proceeding. He's again asking to keep a record open. This record is open. It will remain open until the City Council makes a decision. And then he is requesting information around water. A TSP does not affect water. There is no coordination required with water resources for this document. The coordination that we have been doing has been ongoing. the Department of Land Conservation and Development and the Oregon Department of Transportation are co-managers and co-funders of the Transportation and Growth Management Program. That is who the grant was received from that is funding this work. Between their grant and our match, we're at probably $250,000 to do this project. The goals that are applicable are Goal 1, community involvement. We have met, if not exceeded that goal with our project, our public advisory committee, our web postings for all of that activity. We've provided documents along the way. All of them are available there at the city's website. We've had several joint work sessions, both internally between City Council and Planning Commission. We also had the required joint city and county work session. And we have duly noticed this hearing, and the packet was available last Thursday. We have received his emails. We will consider those emails. We will respond to those emails. But I would respectfully ask for you to allow us to do that prior to the City Council public hearing. They are voluminous. Most of them are over 20, and several are over 30 pages in length. A lot of that is redundancy, but nonetheless, we have to respond to them, and we will do that. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on that, and if he does raise anything that is substantive tonight, we will do our best to respond to that. I appreciate your time. I'm happy to answer any questions, and again, if you have any questions specific to the letter from Jennifer Bragar in reference to Mr. Hattenhauer, Matt can also further clarify what the request is. He did allude to it as part of his presentation. And again, we're not opposed to that request.
Okay. No, that looked fairly straightforward. I have questions specifically on the letter from Greenlight Engineering.
Okay.
They made some recommendations to
They
the city.
They did.
Okay.
So if you look at the email that's from Matt that has the 2 bullet points on it, I think that is Matt's summary. It's where it says revised tables 5.1 and 5.2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think Matt has succinctly identified, and I think, you know, when you get to a recommendation, this is a change to the draft TSP. It would be a change to tables 5.1 and 5.2. And there's some commentary in there as well. And then again, we need to clarify, his second bullet is to clarify that future IMP refinement must occur prior to implementing any access or geometric modifications. Again, I think if anything you forward, you incorporate these things into that, we'll work with Matt to make changes to the draft TSP prior to the City Council public hearing.
But that's the intent from the city.
The intent from the city is to respond, I don't want to say positively, but respond affirmatively. I think maybe it's a better way to say that. Respond affirmatively to what they've
To those
requested.
recommendations.
Right.
Okay.
And again, our intent is to initiate an update to the Main Street IMP as soon as the TSP is adopted.
These are included in the public record for this, right?
I'm sorry.
These documents, are they part of the minutes? Like if someone wanted to look these up?
So we'll be posting a lot of these things to.
Okay. I just want to make sure what I say people can reference.
Right.
Okay.
We just prepared this response today, so we have not provided this information to the view details page yet.
But it will be.
But we will.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
these things will go forward to.
I mean, I can read them, but we could hear a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And before we're done, we probably need to take some actions relative to items to include or incorporate into the record.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Staff or report? Is Ragnar still with us? He's on there.
I am.
Okay. I want to make sure we're not ignoring you.
Oh, no,
Do you have
that's
any
fine. We're
questions for
good.
staff?
No, I'm all good.
Okay. Okay, was there anything else, Carla? I don't want
No, not from staff. Well, actually, no. Can we open chat? Because there's that one thing when Fletcher couldn't hear, when Mr. Hobbs couldn't hear, you had that one. Okay, he says, I'm concerned about traffic since the intersection of Yates and Laurel are already incomplete and dangerous. I donated the land for a loop road on the west side of Laurel and expect the city to finish this before they expand into other areas. So again, I won't disagree. The Port of Morrow IAMP is still in place. It was adopted in either 9 or 11. I'm sorry, I think 11 maybe. It did have a refinement in 22. That refinement was on the north side and didn't affect the requirements on the south side. You'll notice that on the map, in that area for the TSP, we have a slight modification to the loop. And while the IAMP would still be applicable, and you could look at the loop as it is identified in there, we are also allowing for a potential longer loop that would come down and connect a future anticipated extension of Oregon Trail Boulevard. So Devon Loop currently comes in on the north side of the BPA lines. Oregon Trail is on the south side of the BPA lines. So there would be an offset by that distance of the BPA easement, which is about somewhere between 385 and 450 feet. So again, it creates another option for how that could connect on the west side of Laurel when development occurs.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome, thank you. Okay.
So,
Moving on.
does anyone wish to speak in favor of the application?
I don't know that we had anybody.
Online.
So scroll down to the end of the chat, Aurelie. If there's anybody online who was not able to submit a testimony card, you can certainly chime in on looks like Jennifer, and she does have a testimony card. So she has raised her
She
hand.
does, yes, I have that here. Okay.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I hope this is the right time. I want to thank staff and the consultant for taking a look at the letter we submitted on behalf of Hattenauer Distributing. We, worked hard to review the TSP and get comments in ahead of time, and it is very quick that I guess you guys have a bit of a response there that we'll get to see in the course. And I understand from Carla that the record will continue to remain open after today. But I just want to clarify that the request that we're making tonight is to, yes, move forward with Rick's recommendations in the Greenlight Engineering memo, but also to remove references to the raised median and right in, right out on that north Main Street corridor, the Main Street corridor in general, because it does seem like with Matt's explanation this evening of the R25 project, that IAMP refinement is going to sort of happen in the short term, as Carla described. And it is, the context in which we wrote this letter is that refinement really needs to take place to inform how the design for any other transportation improvements on the Main Street corridor are going to work, because the interchange is so significant, and the interrelationship between the movement off the freeway and then onto Main Street is going to be, critical to look at. But the business is really, this right in, right out is not, it's very worrisome. And so it would be great if the Planning Commission tonight could recommend that those specific references to the outcomes or the planned resolution would be raised medians and right in, right out only. So with that, I thank you for your consideration. And Rick, from Greenlight Engineering, Rick Nyes is here if you have any questions for him, and also Alex Hattenauer if you have any business needs related questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Does anyone have any questions for Jennifer? Well, we've got her on the line. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer.
Well, I have another question I had. Did you satisfy their concerns?
Yeah, I think if you look at the response that Matt, and I'm trying to remember, I don't think, and my apologies to Jennifer, I don't think I forwarded Matt's response to her. I just said we were not opposed to their request. So
Okay.
I think what I will attempt to do is unless you would allow me, Chair Parisi, I can clarify those two bullets now.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So again, to city's response specifically to that letter would be the two bullets that I provided to you. Revise tables 5.1 and 5.2 to remove the prescriptive language that refers to raised medians and ride-in, ride-out treatments. He goes on and says the traffic engineering consultant suggested some alternative language that replaces our current description. That current description is modifications may include implementing ride-in, ride-out turning movement restrictions to from North Front Street via a raised median or other access management measures. They are suggesting, and we're okay with the replacing that with modify intersection to be consistent with the outcome of the IMP refinement study, specifically project R25, which will evaluate safety operations and access management needs. Modifications will be determined through that process. And then the second bullet says, clarify that a future IMP refinement must occur prior to implementing any access or geometric modifications unless the existing IMP triggers have been met. So the first one is easy. It's just change language in tables 5.1 and 5.2. The second bullet is probably a little more refined and nuanced, but they will get an opportunity to review the next version of the draft prior to the city council public hearing. And if they have any continuing concerns at that time, they could bring them up. And we may very well reach out to further clarify between the three of them if there's anything else that would be specific that would address, again, this specific issue.
Have we heard back from Hattenauer's? Are they happy with that decision?
Well, that's his attorney who's making the request.
Oh, perfect.
Yes,
Okay.
she represents.
Yeah, so they're good.
Yeah,
That's what they
yes.
want. Awesome. I like it. Teamwork. Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the application? Is there anyone in the audience? Let me just start here so we can kind of separate the two. Is there anyone in the audience? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone else in Zoom audience or online audience that wishes to speak in favor of the application? Okay, hearing none. Just Zoom first. I just want to segregate this a little bit. Is there anyone who would speak against the application from Zoom? Okay, all right. Aside from Mr. Tallman, I kind of want to give him enough time. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak against the application? I know he's made that very clear. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak against the application? No. Okay, Mr. Tallman, this is your time. I'm assuming you still wish to speak.
Okay, so all those emails, I'm asking you guys to go over those, okay? The very first thing is the transparency issues. I've been at a city council meeting where I've said, hey, I have these ideas. The mayor said, and it's October 7th one that I want to print it out for you guys to look at. He said, oh, why don't you go to these meetings that Carla has and go through all these things and give your thoughts and input. I do. And then Carla says, no, I can't talk about it. Then Brennan, I make sure I go there, and Brennan says, Hammond says, hey, put in your thoughts and input. Then I follow up with an email saying I get shut down at those meetings. And it's all documented in that email. Then I get shut down at those meetings and I can't speak because I'm not part of the public comment. So the vacuum is created. I can show the vacuum. I can show it. You just have to read it.
Okay, let me try and focus this a little
Yes.
bit.
And that's what's so confusing. They do this on purpose. Yeah,
Well,
yes.
I'm not gonna comment on that. I guess,
Just read the October 7th email chain, okay? And just read what Brandon says. At first, he says, go ahead and go put your thoughts and input, and then turns around and says, oh, no, well, I guess you're not able to talk because you're not a part
okay,
of it.
so I just want to be clear, that's outside the.
But that's a
process. And
transparency
what I
issue.
want to do is get specific with your concerns as it pertains to what we're discussing here. I understand that there's.
But that's a
other
transparency. That's a
concerns,
goal number one transparency issue that needs to be addressed.
which is why we have these meetings and we hold these.
Yes, but I've got to set the foundation. There is no
Just
transparency.
a quick question, do we have a time limit or?
Typically, we assign 5 minutes. I think you probably allow.
It's
No,
10
more
minutes
minutes.
usually is what we've been doing at the city.
We usually,
How
we
much?
have
3 minutes
said
per person.
5 minutes historically for several years.
Well, but she got, how long did she get? She got 20 minutes to go through this whole
That
thing?
has a lot of other things to go
Okay,
through.
but again,
I'm
there's-
not saying we're gonna limit you to 5 minutes. I definitely want to hear what you have to say. Absolutely. And this needs to be on
Well,
the record. I want to get specific. Can you please?
Yeah, and I'm trying to be specific.
Right,
to show
so please
people one
start
issue.
with a list for me as you go through,
Yes.
specifically the item that's substantive to the TSP that we're talking about.
Yes.
The issue
So
that you want to talk
the
about.
transportation only claim does not hold, okay? The maps and the narratives already, if you read through the maps, have changed, okay? And though they use paths that are leading directly to a proposed park that Mike and Carla talked about on April 15th at the PAC meeting. And I have the timestamp that's on there. I've asked that to be a part of the record, and I don't know if it's part of the record. That's why I've asked for it to be printed off.
Can you say which park you're talking about specifically?
It's an April 15th YouTube video. 1 hour 51 1 hour 01 52-minute mark, or right around
Okay.
51-minute mark. Okay.
How about location? I'm looking for location,
Yes. So it's right here.
just so we're all on the same page and I know what you're
Yes.
talking.
So here it is, right here. That's my property.
Is that,
Okay,
okay,
and
where is that?
That's my
down
property over on Laurel
the
Lane.
Farmer stand?
Yeah, the farmer's stand.
I mean,
Yes.
So, okay, so down by in the.
Yes.
Right.
So this is the one where Carla on April 15th and Mike are talking about this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, and they're specifically saying that there's gonna be a trail, it's gonna be done in 18 months, okay, all that's documented, please listen to that video timestamp of it, okay? Then I started asking questions and going to these meetings, and they didn't want me asking these questions at the meetings, and then all of a sudden it's blurred out. And then I said, okay, well, why is it now blurred out? Please give me all those open meeting and all those notes, because this affects what you guys are doing here.
Okay.
And then now, okay, it's showing, it's going across my property as a park that's going under
Okay,
the
and just so
trail.
we're clear, can you?
Yes.
The validity or the context of.
But it's on the record that I've given her, and I've asked for it to be printed out.
Okay,
But when then I show it on my emails, this is what I get, which is totally different than this.
okay. Can you at least describe for us what you're pulling up?
Well, but this is why I'm asking you to look at what's on the record that she has. And that's why I asked for it to be printed out, to go through these specific.
If
you got
I
to put
may,
that
Mr.
stuff.
Tallman, what you're pointing to, is that somewhere in the TSP document?
Yeah, in the TSP document.
That
No,
is in the
it's not.
TSP document? Are you being disingenuous?
It
right
is in
now?
the TSP document of the April 15th meetings,
The
okay?
document
clear,
here
that
before the
April
planning
15th
commission today, is it in there?
Yes, it's all in there that I've added to as the record.
Okay, can we get clarification? Is this in the current TSP iteration?
The map he has is a map from the deliberative process that we've been going through to develop the parks master plan,
Okay.
not the transportation system plan. That map you will not find in your draft TSP document.
But I want to go, okay, I got to set the foundation of what I'm talking about, okay? And this is why the shell game is very active, okay? All right. The reference shared uses facilities, trailheads, open spaces, corridors, future recreational access points, assume parks-related vehicle trips and infrastructure costs in their modeling. This means the TSP is functionally integrated with the park's master plan and land use assumptions. Even if staff labels it parts as illustrative, like what we're talking about here, what she's saying. So when they say the park map isn't part of the decision, what they mean is they haven't formally adopted that map yet. but they're still relying on it as a factual basis where the collectors and trails go, and that makes it part of the land use decision by reference. Okay, and that's why I'm asking, it's not labeled as a goal 12 transportation update, and the map tells a different story. And this is all integrated, and this is.
What is specifically your issue with this, with that information? What is?
So it sets the foundation of what you're doing. You're referencing, you're talking about it at meetings that I can't even go to or speak at. And that's why I referenced it on those. All the stuff, when she says I withheld it, shows the underlying foundation of I'm not able to speak, I'm not able to show the stuff that they talk about. And then I'm coming off confrontational to you guys. And I don't mean to come off
I
confrontational.
think it's compassionate. I don't think it's confrontational. Let me see if I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So you're talking about a visibility issue between the TMP and the TSP and the potential segregation or non-segregation of that information that you're not privy to. You're saying you're being withheld information from the coercion of the two, or the.
I'm not being a part of the group, especially when this comes over my property, okay? And being integrated as a landowner, okay?
Okay.
Then in 2022, I did I have a LUBA case where I won. And please go, I put that apart as well too, because all this interlace into it. And so all this, so the 22 collector map shows extending outside the city limits, running directly through areas identified in the BPA parks and the same routes that serve
And
labels.
Mr. Tallman, you are referencing a document that is not before the planning commission.
Ma'am, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
I absolutely understand this far more than you do.
So like what you're saying now, you're moving on to something else. What do you specifically?
So this is the shell game that I'm talking about. Okay, the transportation system only. Okay, this means the TSP is functionally integrated with the parks master plan. That is what I'm
Mr.
saying.
Tallman, if you have a specific statute or rule or regulation that you find that this TSP is violating, please say it right now.
Okay, here, let me look it up.
Okay, so.
Hold on, please don't interrupt me. I'm looking it up.
Let him cite whatever citation he has.
Please, let me clarify. To be clear, the TSP that we're talking about tonight is substantially separate from the PMP. They do share verbiage and resources, as they must, as with any other neighboring document. We're not here to discuss PMP or anything that you found from
PMP, what do you mean PMP?
the park management plan.
Okay, but they're using it as a rubber stamp to adopt these findings for these roads of the TSP plan.
But that's not really what's happening.
It is.
I understand that's.
It is.
How you,
It is.
It's not. Like, this is very much separate from.
So this is bypassing, okay, a proper public process of goal 2 land use planning and goal 12 urbanization, okay?
In what way is it being violated? You need to be specific. In what way has this planning?
Well, that's 197.763-6.
It's no longer a statute, sir. Your citation is wrong.
What do you mean my citation is wrong?
That is
Look,
not
I
a
have this all in my
statute.
documentation. Have you read over all my documentation?
I absolutely have, sir.
Okay, so can you
None of them
answer
had
every one
merit.
of those questions then? How come you haven't responded to every one of my questions back then?
There's
in
no
writing?
obligation for me to respond to a member of the public.
Just currently standing with the Orin Bar.
Yeah, she does,
Yes.
Debbie is our
Well,
attorney.
why doesn't she go over every question that I've asked already?
I'm not
There's
here.
no obligation to respond to every question from a member of the public, sir.
So this,
Currently resigning attorney says that that law doesn't even exist. I want to go with that.
but this is a
And
shit.
this is not the forum to
What about the
argue.
transparency issues that I talked about and I
Okay.
can
Mayor, if
show?
I may respectfully request that the public comment period be over.
What do
for
you mean
Mr.
it's not the
Tallman.
forum? This is exactly the place to talk about it.
This is not an unlimited source for
So do you
you.
understand what I'm saying? This is exactly the
Sir.
place to talk about it.
You hear what you're saying?
You're not allowing me to speak,
What-
just like all those other things. And,
If I
keep the
dutifully
record open. Keep the
I
record
disagree,
open.
Mr. Tallman. You have spoken quite more than anybody else.
Any other
Ma'am,
concerns?
this has affected my property. You have just come in the last 6 months. I've dealt with this for the last 7 years.
I
on
don't doubt
everything
that,
I've dealt
sir.
with.
I
And
do not doubt that for 1 second, sir.
Mr.
Yeah.
Tallman,
Yes, there is a process.
Because of
to this.
lies
You are
and
not
hiding
following.
these lies of what I've tried to expose.
Mr. Tallman,
What?
do you have any other issues you wish to discuss?
Related to the TSP adoption.
Specifically related.
Okay, the TSP does affect water, okay? Even though the
TSP has nothing to do with water. It is a
it's goal 11,
transportation
public
safety-
facility and service, and goal 5, natural resources, okay?
Sir,
Uh,
that is
natural
not-
transportation.
That is not a regulation that you can cite to. It's too broad.
OAR 660-011-0010.
I respectfully request that Mr.
ORS
Tallman's
Can I
public
respond?
comment period. be
You're
over.
interrupting me. All you've done is interrupt me, ma'am. That's all you've
Absolutely.
done.
What is the?
Did I sit there
issue
and
that you're
interrupt,
saying?
Carla, whenever she was saying stuff? This is sad. This is so sad. I can't even be at a meeting and go over these issues when it affects my property. This is so sad.
Okay, your issues were noted as part of the public hearing. Appreciate your comment.
I want Boardman to succeed. It does not succeed this way.
Common shared goal, sir.
Appreciate it. Prove it. Show me accountability.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who would speak against the application? Hearing none. Is there any new?
Maybe me.
Yeah. We.
Absolutely.
And so I printed out what I'm gonna say if you want it. for you.
And could you
Your name for the record.
Yes, I will.
For the recording.
What?
It's.
Oh, it's not on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My name is Cheryl Tallman. I live at 706 Mountford Avenue in the city. And then also, I own the Farmer's Cup. I'm a part owner of the Farmer's Cup out on Laurel Lane. Okay. So I want to make a, statement. This is also, formal and everything, but I just want to introduce myself to you as a landowner. And we bought the property on Laurel Lane, and we have 28 acres. It was more than in 1988. We farmed it for several years, and we've always grown produce and flowers, and we sold it around town at farmers markets. My husband Terry, who passed away 3 years ago, liked to keep his produce local, so it was vine ripe and it tasted good. We retired in 2016 and started to plan for what we would do for retirement. We started the Farmer's Cup in 2019, and 20 days later, Toth Consultant from UEC came and offered us 1.2 million to leave our property to them in 6 months to level everything to the ground. We said, no, thank you. We wanted to keep our property. If they wanted a power line to go a different way, not through our property, go by the city code, which knew it should have been underground. And they said, no, that was too expensive. And they said, well, we're going to use the power line for residential growth. That power line that went through our property is only to Amazon, the one that's in the city limits. And it's been 7 years, and it's only for Amazon. Case in point was last week when the power went off. It went off through the city, but Amazon had power. They wanted us to sign a non-disclosure when they offered us the money. We did not sign. So we went through the court system, and our property was taken eminent domain, which they said they wouldn't do, but they did, for the easement of the power lines. After we went through the court system and they took our property easement for power lines. After we went through the court system and paid for lawyers to go through that, which cost us a lot of money. The city, the port, and the county all wanted the power line to go through. We did not get any support from them, any pushback or any help or any suggestions. They all went for putting the power line in. They wanted us to move our business. They said we were and we were not wanting to move. We were in our retirement years, and we decided that we knew the property, we knew the irrigation system, and at our age, we didn't want to buy a new piece of property and move on. We were not wanting to start over. We did get city water a few years ago, and our property became part of the city. But since then, the promise of sewer and the loop road has not happened. In 2022, we were told that it was imperative we get that road figured out. Nothing has been done. It looks like many roads are being built all around Boardman and in the city up to the standards with the lights and the sidewalks. But nothing has been taken care of the West Loop Road out around Laurel Lane. We do not think we need to expand the city any further with the urban growth until proper care has been done on plans inside the city limits. I'm asking the Planning Commission to don't vote on this matter so that all of the information, including the missing materials and coordination with other entities, can be properly reviewed before any vote is taken. We love this community and want to see it grow responsibly and fairly, with every decision made on a full and accurate record that the public can trust. Thank you for letting me give a little background of our family.
Thank you very much.
I asked you what missing materials are you referring to?
The coordination with the Oregon Water Resources Department.
The October 9th survey. We didn't get it. It's part of the record that I sent Carla. And on October 9th, she said it was there. Just on October 15th, I did not get those records. It's the survey link that she had on the QR code. It was not given a week in advance before this meeting. That's why there should be a continuance.
What's the name? I have no idea. I have no idea.
So she yeah, see, I'm glad you're asking. I'm trying to show you what my mom's referring to.
I don't understand all these codes and everything. I'm a nurse. I'd rather do other things.
So the Boardman system plan right here, this QR code, October 9th, okay? It says that the plan and all the records and all the mythology that went into it was up to date, okay? It did not get finalized, and I have that in my records. The records were not put in a week prior to this meeting. It was done on the QR code. I meant QR code, not survey. No. It's a QR code. Sorry, not a survey, a QR code. Because usually it goes to a survey. That was my confusion. Sorry. Okay. So that QR code so there was the link was missing. It did not say that all the methodology was in place. And Carla's on record for emailing on April 15th at 1:48 p.m. I believe, somewhere right in that time frame, that says, oh, I finally updated it. It should have been October the 9th per the DLCD, and I have the email that's part of the record that should be in there. That all that stuff, okay. There has to be a timeline for that record to show that it was not done correctly.
Okay.
And thank you. Thank you for listening. I do appreciate it.
Is there anyone else who has neutral testimony?
I have one sentence that's neutral, but to what Sarah read to you.
You need to come to the podium, sir.
Would you mind coming to the podium and kind of speaking up so it's on the record and Zoom land can hear us?
I'm Randy Baker, and I help Cheryl with her garden, and I do some work on the property for them. They're decade friends with my family. The one part that I will accentuate that she talked about how the official entities would not help them is that when they put that water line or that power line in, in their action of doing that, it runs over the only well on their property, an 810-foot well, which is more than most people around here, a good well. And that substantially killed the ability to use that the way they've been doing it for decades. They haven't for a few years when Terry was ill and passed. But just the fact that they did that and nobody helped them, I mean, that cut out their income to do more than the 1 or 2 acres that Cheryl does now with the city water she has to pay for. So I just wanted to add that that's just one of the many things that has happened over there, that things have been done with against their wishes as property owners. When Terry asked me to help him some years ago, and it was about eminent domain law doing it, I was very familiar with eminent domain law that moved the city of Boardman in the 60s. I read Oregon's front to back a couple times, and it specifically states that what they did, direct line to Amazon, is not within that code. I'm only saying that this family just keeps getting walked over, and I don't want to go any farther. That's it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Baker. Okay, we're gonna move on to a rebuttal, the applicant.
I'm assuming you have rebuttal to, there's been a lot of testimony tonight.
Yeah, again, I think we have responded to the questions and the correct requests from Hatton Howard Distributing that were presented by Ms. Breger through the letter and her testimony tonight. I think we're in concurrence with what they're requesting, and we will work with them on changes and amendments based on their request prior to the draft that would go before the city council. I think I summarized Mr. Coleman's testimony very well previously. I really don't have anything additional to add to that. I think rebuttal to both Mrs. Tallman's and Mr. Baker's testimony is that I feel for the loss of Mr. Tallman. I worked for him for many years. I had tremendous respect for him. However, those issues are not pertinent to the decision in front of you tonight. There were other applications that were dealt with. There's nothing about those previous decisions or the transmission line issues that would be pertinent to the adoption of this transportation system plan.
Okay. I want to.
Make sure to engage.
Sorry, I don't remember her name.
Jody?
Jody.
As legal counsel for the city.
Yeah.
As the attorney of record for the city, I'm wondering if you have anything to rebut for the testimony that's been given.
Oh,
I cannot hear you.
Nothing specific, but I do concur with Carla that we will absolutely address each and every single one of Mr. Tallman's concerns in the findings themselves.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, the public testimony portion of this hearing is closed.
Staff need to respond to a question or issue raised by the testimony.
no.
Yeah. The public meeting, okay. The question we have is for the staff. And we try.
Did you get a response from the?
Were they all right with our response to them in regards to what they?
Yes, that was Ms. Breyer who was.
Yeah, that was their attorney.
Yeah, I knew that. I was wondering with what we had said.
We were okay with on their recommendation. They were.
Yeah, so their request is what the recommendation is that the city is saying. Yeah.
We'll coordinate with them. Again, they'll have another, opportunity. I mean, if we don't quite get it right, they'll get the comment again.
Cool.
No, I think it's good verbiage change. Any other questions of staff?
Ragna? I don't wanna gloss over you. I'm sorry. I keep calling you out. Do you have any questions?
No,
for
no,
staff?
I'm good. I'll pipe up if there's
Okay. all right.
something.
Okay. Okay, so. Now's the time for this.
So, is there any discussion?
Ragna, also calling on you.
The plan commission on the topic of the public meeting.
I have none. I don't either.
Is there anything that we think is unclear or not addressed by the, like an applicant, by the city?
Unclear.
Okay,
Have any thoughts on, aside from like what you called out, is there any thoughts on
communication received?
specifically,
From Hagenauer,
5-1, 5-2.
is it just-
The only thing I'd like to say about that is I'm really happy that, I'm glad to see that we are taking their concerns and trying to figure out a way because of
And I think
back to the beginning that it was
a big thing to make sure that we looked at on that before we move forward, so. They're doing a good job.
agreed, yeah.
Is there anything we want to discuss on,
On,
any of the other?
more that we've heard, address that we feel unclear. Okay. Well, if there's no discussion, we need to decide on a decision. What you want to do moving forward, either, I would either entertain a motion or decision. What do we call it?
You can move it to the city council as presented, as amended, or you can deny it.
So
Either a motion to move forward, specifically TSP amendment, to the city to adopt as recommended. Or with,
I moved to send it to the city council as written,
so,
as presented,
so to be clear, does it,
Amended,
as amended, I'm sorry.
the changes to.
Yeah, the changes that we talked about.
the changes from the comment from, the Alex Hattenhauer letter?
Yes.
is this working?
Let it down.
Oh, I'm not even on.
One person talks and another person talks, it cancels it out. That's what's happening.
Okay. So I want to make sure that we're talking about that, we're looking for a motion to move forward with the TSP amendment as amended to the city council, specifically referencing Matt Hugart's recommendation based on the comment from Mr. Hattenhauer with a do adopt recommendation of those items.
I moved forward the TSP amendment as amended to the city council, reference Matt Hugart's recommendation based on comments from the Alex Hattenhauer letter with a do adopt recommendation.
I second.
Okay.
Second.
A motion and a second. We need a vote then. This is move forward with TSP amendment with the amended as the adoption recommendations. Can we just do a roll call vote for record?
Sure. Commissioner Layton,
Yes.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Commissioner Carberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Tenike,
Yes.
Commissioner Irons,
Yes.
and Chair Barisi.
Yes.
Your motion did pass.
Okay.
So we have a motion that passed. Okay, so that concludes the business with the public hearing discussion items. Do we have updates?
You do. You have on your dais, and it was part of the original meeting packet, my monthly update that was provided to the council at the beginning of this month, which was actually kind of late this month. So I think the council meeting was like on the 7th or something. It's late. So it just talks a little bit about the strategic planning program work that we've been doing. And of course, we're here tonight. This is the first public hearing relative to the adoption of the work we've been doing for the past, year and a half now, I think, almost, between the TSP and all of the other planning documents. So what I will say is that we have submitted the Parks Master Plan to DLCD. It will be adopted as guidance, so it won't be adopted by ordinance. It'll be adopted by resolution, most likely, when we get to City Council. And it will be informative to Goal 8, which is the recreation goal. To be clear, not Goal 12, the transportation goal. We're also working on economic opportunities analysis, and I want to ask you each to put November 18th on your calendar for a 6 p.m. joint work session with the City Council on the EOA. The Parks Master Plan first hearing will probably be November 20th. It may be in December. We've just got a lot of things coming, and we may be juggling a few items on the agenda.
What was that date again?
The work session is November 18th, and it would be at 6 p.m. And if you want to hang around at 7, the City Council will be doing the adoption hearing for the TSP. We've been waiting for the state to finish rulemaking on the requirements for the housing capacity analysis. It used to be a process called the housing needs analysis. And with all the legislative changes that have been going on at the state level over the past 4, 5, 6 years, they now have removed that term for cities and counties, and it's now a housing capacity analysis. The rulemaking is not concluded, but we have a draft scope of work. I think we'll probably be engaging the consultant to begin that work as close to November 1 as possible. And that's probably going to be close to a 9-month process. So next summer, we'll be wrapping that up. That'll give us information about how much needed, what is our growth, how much housing land do we need? Do we have enough? Do we need more? Do we have the right kinds? And it'll inform both our comprehensive plan and also development code changes as well. Again, we've mentioned tonight that we're looking at doing the refinement for the IMP for Main Street. And then we're also working on amendments to both the Boardman Development Code and Comprehensive Plan. That was originally going to finish in April. And again, we're gonna stretch that timeline out a little bit so we can get the housing capacity information incorporated in there as well. Other programmatic work, we continue to do work on our municipal code. The City Council recently adopted, although they have to do a second reading for the transient merchant code provisions. There's been talk for, as I understand it, for more than 20 years about establishing a business license program in Boardman. We are not establishing a traditional business license program. The initial focus will be on transient merchants, capturing those who are coming in, setting up shop for a day, and then moving on, or those who come in
sell their fruits and vegetables, over a weekend, just so that we kind of know who's who, what's happening, where it's happening. And a lot of this is driven by impacts to the utilization of sidewalks and right-of-way, which is not consistent with what sidewalks and right-of-way should be used for. So trying to figure out how we can allow these things and not have impediments to pedestrians or potential accidents with vehicles. So
we currently don't have any laws against them or?
they're not clear.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're trying to, we really need to work on this kind of from both directions. What our sidewalks used for, and then also, but just knowing who's in town. And then a part of this is also the traditional, we've tried to steer away from using the term solicitor because legally, solicitor is a historic term for an attorney. And yet we often talk about solicitors who do doorknob, right? And so we really need to think of them as transient merchants, people who come in and do that. So, the guy who used to sell the World Book, or the person who used to sell the home products,
Full of brush man.
Yeah, Full of Brush Man or those.
Yeah.
So it's really about knowing who's in town, and just allowing the police department to do some kind of, background check, so that when somebody calls dispatch and says, hey, somebody's walking around the neighborhood trying to sell stuff, we have some idea of who that might be and can respond that, yes, we're aware of that, or no, we're not aware of that, and we can intercept as needed. So it's kind of a, kind of a three-legged stool approach to figuring out what's going on in town. A lot has been happening on the home front. River Ridge, that development, they have sold the ability, so the currently undeveloped lots in River Ridge Phase 5 that were being built by Woodhill Homes, those lots have been sold to ProMade Homes. So ProMade, who finished Tuscany, will finish that phase of River Ridge. And then the Chaparral subdivision has also been purchased by ProMade Homes, and they are working through their other permit processes to begin installation of the infrastructure for that development. So on the home front, I get a little nervous every once in a while because it looks like we're running out of single family home sites, but we've got more coming into the queue. On the commercial development side, get ready. We've had 3 pre-application meetings in the last week, and we have at least 3 more that are in the process of being scheduled. And that's if I'm remembering them all. And most, if not all of those, will come before you sometime over the next, probably not next month, but there may be one next month. And certainly over the next several months, we'll have a number of commercial and residential development proposals that'll come before this body. So yeah, it's busy. And if anything, it's getting more busy. Yeah.
When was the last time we did a housing needs analysis?
So one was done, the county did one collaboratively with all 5 communities in the county in 2018-19. The report for that came out in 2019. I do not think Barry, other than maybe having provided it to the Planning Commission, I can't find any record that you guys adopted it or did any work with it. So we at least have a little bit of fresh background information to work with, but we've been working on developing a brand new buildable lands inventory, actually 2 BLIs, one for employment lands that is a part of the economic opportunities analysis process. And then we've been working on a residential buildable lands inventory that will be supportive of the housing capacity analysis.
Really good idea.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, we're busy, and I don't see any changes in that. If you have time on the evening of November 4th, is that City Council, November 4th? Yes, November 4th. There will be a presentation to the to the City Council of a new platform that we are launching on November 5th. It's called Urban Form. Sam actually attended
one of the development meetings for that. He was my pick to represent you all. I hope you're okay with that. Urban Forum, you can actually go to boardman.urbanforum.com, I think. I'll try to remember, maybe I'll send you out the link. And what it does is you're able to on a map platform, click on a property, and it uses a fairly simple AI process to review the development code relative, the assessor's data based on what it's zoned and the development code, and give you an initial report of kind of what you can and can't do and what permits you might need on that particular piece of property. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We're going to launch that on November 5th. We're also, and there will be a presentation of that platform at the city council meeting on November 4th. We're also in the process of developing an interactive web-based map. We've had GIS in our system for a while, and what we want to do is put that out there so that the community can access some basic GIS information. You know, our GIS for water and wastewater lines is pretty detailed. We're going to make generic kind of, here's where the water line is, here's where the sewer line is, available public facing. It'll have a little more detail than that, but it won't have a lot of the specific detail. But it'll also have zoning. We're building a sidewalk layer. We have a street light layer. And so we're gonna sort through that and figure out what we can put all out there on a public facing way. And see Stanfield, if you go to Stanfield's website and you from their main page, I think it's on their main page, if you scroll down, you can see an opportunity to link to the city's map hub. It's not a perfect example, but it will let you see what, and you can go into one of those maps and kind of see what a GIS-based interactive map looks like. You can turn layers on and off. You can see zoning, you can see city limits, urban growth boundary. You can see where the IAMP management areas are. You'll be able to see where our urban renewal areas are. So there'll be a lot of information on that. And then of course we already have CitizenServe, which is our online platform for making applications. So what we're, Amanda and I had a conversation today about how we're gonna try to create a good web-facing face to kind of put this out there and make it available to people. So, you know, I don't think we've stopped changing the website since we converted to the version we have now. And I guess this is my way of saying we're going to change some more things on the website so that people can access these things in a real simple way. And they're all designed to support development. So, you know, figuring out how we facilitate new single-family development, new multifamily development, new commercial opportunity, whatever those may be. I know Jennifer does want to hear this, but potential competition for our local restaurants, you know, competition for Family Dollar and Dollar, you know, whatever it may be. It's going to be interesting over the next several months to roll through all of the applications that are coming.
Did you say the website was for the forum?
Urban Forum.
Urban.
Yeah, and it's yeah, so it's boardman.urbanforum, and I think it's .com.
Not sure.
Well,
That'll give me close enough.
yeah. Yeah. If you can't find it, Mike, just give me a call.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't, other than I walked into Brandon's office today and said I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what else to share with you.
Was he in there?
He was.
Question. All right.
And I guess the last thing I will say is will you all please join me in saying, welcome back, Areli.
Yeah. Welcome back. Okay, public comment time. So I'd like to invite anyone from the audience, if you would like to make a public comment, to speak on any topic other than anything in litigation, any quasi-judicial land use matter, or anything that we, in a public hearing, please come to the podium invite everyone to make comment if you would like.
I do.
And this is time limited at 3
Yes.
Yeah, we time limit at 3 minutes, so try to make it quick.
So I want to thank my mom and Brandy. Do you guys not see what happened when we don't do planning decisions correctly and we just push things through and we just take something that isn't ours? That's my main issue that I'm trying to take. That's what this whole process is. Just don't take what isn't yours, okay? Where's property rights? Let me go put a power line in front of your guys' yard. What about, putting a pole in front of your, what we're doing? It devalues the property. Then we hide behind non-disclosures agreements. I'm not trying to attack you guys. I'm trying to bring accountability to this job. Sam, you're a firefighter. You know this. Accountability keeps you skinny, keeps you inclined, keeps you disciplined, keeps you alert, keep your head on a swivel so you can make good decisions when you're in a firefight. I'm in a firefight here, okay? And all I'm asking is for you to understand the limitations. And when we do these shell games of these things, it puts limitations on this whole process. And that's what my frustration comes. And I'm not able to articulate it, okay? And I'm willing to work with Brandon. I'm willing to work with Carla. But I'm given no choice to do what I'm doing right now. And when I ask for documentation, and I want to state, okay, that I sent it in like this, and it came out like this. All right, that's two different things. I'm not asking for too much for accountability for my city. I don't think that's too difficult. Why didn't we ask for that documentation? Well, why didn't we see this? Why didn't we say, hey, I want to be clear on this, on why this was done on the TSP plan and where this road goes to where and where it goes here? What is he referring to? I don't get any of that response back. Do you understand how frustrating that is? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like all this stuff was discussed at these meetings. And now it isn't. Now it's just swept under the rug. Would you be upset if I went around and I put, a trail through your backyard and said, oh, well, no decision, nothing that you can do? I'm willing to work with people. I'm sure you guys will be willing to work with people. Why is it that hard to communicate that and ask those questions and say, what do you mean? What do you understand by that? I don't know what you mean. Why can't I do that? Now, because it's a power line, do you guys want a power line on your property? Do you guys want that? Do you know how much money it's made the city? It's got a $21 million budget to a $90 million budget from all these utility electric fees. Brought this up, okay? They said it's for residential growth. So when I see a staff report, guess what? I don't believe it anymore. I don't believe it anymore. Because what I've been shown is it isn't true. And I'm in the way. What happens when this affects you guys? Because it's coming for you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. I don't want to leave you hanging on.
Yeah, I know.
Spot on that.
It's not our role to respond.
Why not? They respond to you all day long, Carla. I would really like to have a conversation. I really would.
I'm not trying to have a conversation here.
But this is our property that this is being done to.
I just want to point out.
Do you see what that comes off as disrespectful?
No, I just want to point out.
Okay, go ahead.
This meeting tonight is not about, while I empathize with you about putting power lines or power poles on anyone's road, that has nothing to do with this meeting.
Yes, it does. That's the whole.
I understand what you're saying. That's not what this meeting was about. I don't really want to talk about the meeting with that. It's already done.
That's the show game that I'm talking about, Zach. That's the show game I'm talking about.
I'm not saying you don't have a forum, but this is not that forum.
I mean, this is a public meeting.
We're done with the public meeting about the TSP.
See, but you see what I'm talking about? When do I get a conversation about this? When do I ever?
I think my recommendation would be to try and stick to the substantive topic.
I do, and then you play a shell game of what we're talking about here.
There's a lot of moving parts, and this is not.
But really, see what I'm trying to say? The accountability part.
And I appreciate your comment, and I want to move on. I don't want to keep everyone here all night. I appreciate your comment, though. Is there anyone who wishes to make another comment? Yes, sir. Would you come to the podium, please?
I've got three things.
It's Mr. Baker, right?
Yes, sir.
For the record, yes.
Randy Baker.
Andrew Baker.
In 2016, I bought a piece of property in Boardman, but it's outside the city limits. It's on the border of the city limits. I bought it with the idea of building a subdivision. I was new to the Oregon rules. I grew up here, but I was 40 years in Alaska. I found out in 2017 that the state of Oregon was not allowing the city of Boardman to, they did not allow any annexations because the state believed that at that time they had a too high of a percentage of available subdivision home plots within the city limits. My question is, from the Planning Commission, can the city of Boardman now annex additional land into the city from within the UGB? Uniform Growth Boundary?
So I would direct that question to the city staff.
You should make an appointment and come in and speak.
Yeah, with that's not something that we can answer here,
Okay.
dive into. We don't have really the time, it's not the forum for it, but
Well, I only needed a yes or no.
Oh, we don't know.
we can't give you an answer to that though. Yeah,
Let me just answer if you don't know.
but it's something city staff should address,
Okay.
which would be,
Are these people city?
this is city staff.
Oh, that's in that, okay.
Yeah, so if you call and make an appointment, I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to you. Yeah.
The third thing is the Planning Commission now working on any plans to annex for the annexation of West Glen subdivision?
So that would be, I guess the answer is no, because the planning commission doesn't do that. That would be, I would direct that to city staff. They work on those and then present
Oh, okay.
plans to the planning commission to vote on, and they present that information. So no, we deal with what's brought in front of us.
Okay, thank you.
That's it, yeah. Is there any other public comment? Mr. Baker, thank you, by the way. Thank you for your comment. Appreciate it.
For listening.
Yeah. Okay, hearing none. Any comments from the commission?
Not regarding this, but I did have a question for you real quick. That's not this, but I don't know what it's called again. The place out by Driftwood.
Unity,
But
the new manufactured home park?
yeah,
Yeah.
what is the status of that? There's a lot of stuff going around town between just all the things that have happened out there, and I don't know that maybe you guys talked about it already, or you brought it up or something. Is there anything you can tell us, like where does it stand, what the situation is? Because of some of the stuff I heard, I don't remember us talking about in our meetings, and I was really confused by some of that.
Right.
And some stuff I heard from the person that works at this meeting. I didn't hear from her because she won't talk to me about that stuff. I tried. I heard in town. Stuff that I don't remember us discussing.
Good job, Tony. What I can share is that this body issued two decisions. The first decision was the original conditional use. I think it was a conditional use permit to allow the manufactured home park. And then the second decision was the modification that you approved about density. Internally, it has been moving through our internal review and approval processes. So based on the conditions for both the CUP and then the modification really didn't change any, we retained all of the conditions, so they kind of just moved forward. One of the things that happened internally I don't remember if it was before or after the modification approval, because frankly, it's just kind of all jumbled together. Two of our planners and our building official and building inspector actually went to a building codes division training, and a lot of the focus of that training was on manufactured home parks and recreational vehicle parks. And the outcome of that is we learned what I expected, and that is that the building official actually has probably more approval authority for review
than I do, and to some degree that you do. So, there's been a lot of internal conversation and back and forth with the developer. It is properly permitted. He is obtaining his individual manufactured setup permits for the mobile homes as we go. We did authorize the site through a development review permit on the planning side after the density increase approval. And they are now working setup permit by setup permit through the building program. So there have been 15, and then we're working on the next 6, 6, and 6, so a total of 18. So we're at like 33 that have received or are in the process of receiving manufactured home setup permits. We did issue a temporary use permit for them to bring an additional 10 manufactured homes on site to temporarily store them as they worked through the setup process. And that gets him, that number gets him through the west side of the park. So we've not issued any manufactured home setup permits on the east side of the park. He does have to have an open space and park area, and that's in the back on the northwest corner. The old shop will eventually go through a conversion and be an office and a laundry facility. Yeah. No, it's the density is pretty high. And we've talked about that a lot internally. I would say one of the biggest takeaways we've had is that historically we've dealt with developers like ProMade Homes or River Ridge, Woodhill Homes, or Profit, who built Portview and Tidewater. And they are experienced developers and they know what questions to ask. And we can then respond to those questions. And a lot of the developments that I said, we've got several that are in the queue, and it's the same thing. They've hired somebody that is representing them to get through that process. The developer of that particular development is not an experienced developer, did not know what questions to ask. And I think that has created some confusion. And honestly, there's a lot of new staff at the city, and I didn't know what questions if he had said, what questions am I not asking? I don't know that I could have provided him a good list of the questions he should have been asking. So it's been a rough one. It's been a rough one. I think we've learned a lot. I think he's learned a lot as a developer. He's not going anywhere. He's in town. He's going to keep developing, and we just need to keep working on that relationship. And we need to learn how to help him anticipate questions, and he needs to learn what questions he should be asking. It'll get better as time goes on.
Thank you.
Hopefully that informs the questions you had. Yeah. Hey, and anytime you guys have questions like that, don't hesitate to give myself, Stephanie, or Aurelia a call. We'll do our best to answer them.
Okay, no other comments? Yes?
Ragna.
Oh, yes, Ragna, do you have a comment?
You're
You are
muted.
still muted.
Oh, still muted. No, I don't have a comment. Did I do something?
No, just wondering
Raise
if you
my
had
hand or
any
something?
comment.
No.
Okay. Didn't want to forget about you. Okay.
Okay.
With that, we'll adjourn. Thank you very much.
Go ahead and stop the recording.
Good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Ragna.
Yeah.